and my wife and I are here on vacation. And today I'm going to talk to you about the 3 most important things about why 6-figure Airbnbs are the way to go. Let's do this. Here you guys are. My name is George Salas, short-term rental strategist, and I am just this beautiful, gorgeous place called Aloha Island. Hanging out with my wife right there, you know. So I want to talk to you guys about the 3 most important things, 3 main things of why to go with 6-figure short-term rentals, 6-figure Airbnbs. And essentially, I want to talk to you about the reason why they are better for you, right? So the number 1 reason is called gross rent multiplier. So with these types of median luxury properties that generate you 6 figures, essentially your gross rent multiplier is going to be anywhere between 15 to 25, maybe 30% if you know what you're doing. What does that mean, George? That essentially means that the revenue of your property is going to be 15 to 25 or 30% of the total purchase price or value of your property, right? What is that? How am I going to get to that number? Well, we target, first of all, being on the top 10%, or what the short-term rental term in the industry is called 90th percentile, right? And the way to do that is essentially going through the 5 main pillars, right? Which is doing the right market research, right? Picking the right property, having the perfect stage and design, having the right marketing strategy, and number 5, having the perfect guest experience, right? Number 2 is expenses, right? In a 6-figure property, your expense ratio is going to be a lot lower than in a normal house. How is that possible, George? So for example, if you have a property that generates you $100,000 in yearly annual gross rental revenue, right? You're gonna calculate about 25 to 30%, right? 25 to 30,000 in expenses, right? That doesn't include your rent or mortgage, just operating expenses, right? Now, what is that? That is about 25 to 30%, right? $25 to $30,000. If you essentially have a similar property, but it's not a 6-figure property, it's not a median luxury type of house, and let's just say it generates $50,000, right? So how much your expense is going to be? It's very similar size, it's just not as luxurious. You didn't put as much money, you didn't stage it as nicely, and you don't have the same amenities as this median luxury house, right? So how much do you think that your expenses are going to be in a $50,000 to $60,000, 2,000 to 2,500 square foot home that brings in about $50,000 to $60,000, right? Well, they're gonna be maybe like 15 to 20,000 if you're lucky, right? More into $20,000 to $25,000. And why is that? Because it takes almost the same amount of money to operate a property that is just norm, right? It's a regular house, right? 2,000 to 2,500 square foot. Then it takes to operate a 3,000 to 3,500 square foot house, right? You're talking about maybe 10 to 20% less when it comes to operating expenses. But the revenue, right? The revenue increases in this median luxury style house by about 40, 50, sometimes 100%, right? So if I'm making 100 grand in a house and I'm making 50 or 60, right? And you have a very similar houses, right? I used to have so many actual properties that generated about 50, 60 grand a year. Isn't that cool? Like I'm making 5 grand a month, George. I'm, monetizing. I'm cash flowing about $1,500, $2,000 per property. Cool. Look, maybe on the higher months I'm making 6,000, 7,000. I'm cash flowing 2,500, 3 grand. But guess what? It takes me quite a bit to operate those properties. Now on these nicer houses, perfect example. One of our properties in Houston, the first 12 months generated $165, close to $170,000, right, in gross revenue, and the net profits on 165 were about $88,000, right? What is that? How much is that? That is over 50%, or right around 50% in profit margins. And how is that possible? Is because we increase the revenue, right? Which makes your profits and your cash flow margins increase a lot more, because your operating expenses, they don't double, right? Electricity doesn't double because you have a pool outside. Electricity doesn't double because you have a bigger property, that it just increases about 10-20%, right? So the grass, you're cutting your grass, and you're not going to pay double the grass, right? You're not going to pay, for example, let's just say it costs about $50 a month to mow, a 2,000 square foot house with, maybe a quarter of a big lot, 10,000 square foot lot, right? And then the property that doesn't have the lawn, maybe just has front grass, you're gonna pay 40, 50 bucks. But the other property, maybe you're gonna pay 100. Yes, it doubles. But what is the difference on that when it comes to margins? Your property, your median luxury house is gonna generate double the income, which means your margins are so much freaking higher when your expenses are only increasing by a small amount. Okay, so that was point number 2. Expenses, income. Your expenses don't double, but your income does, right? And number 3 is cash flow. The reason why 6-figure median luxury houses are the way to go in this short-term rental industry, this vacation rental world, it's because cash flow. Cash flow is king. Every business owner needs cash flow to survive, right? And then cash flow brings this right here. Cash flow brings freedom, brings lifestyle, right? Because you can take out now, essentially, $2,000-$3,000 for your vacation every month, $2,000-$3,000 for your, savings, college tuition for the kids or whatnot, right? So cash flow is the third reason why 6-figure STRs are the way to go, right? So it brings way bigger cash flow. That's what I want you to understand, guys. 6-figure STRs, median luxury STRs are cash flow machines. They're king, right? When my mid-sized apartments that I used to have, just my other regular properties, they're okay too, right? They bring a little bit of cash, and that's cool, right? Cost me less. I spend more up front, but I actually get 3 to 4 times in the back, right? I spend a little bit more up front, and I get 3 to 4 times, 3 to 4x in the back. More additional revenue, which equals to way more cash flow, all right? So those are the 3 main things, right? Number 1 is your gross rent multiplier. Number 2 are your expenses, right? Expenses don't double, right? But income does. And number 3 is cash flow, all right? If you guys like this video, hit that subscribe button right now. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you ring those notifications, because we like making videos like this every single month, right? Hit it right now. I'm gonna see you guys on the other side. Happy Aloha. Bye.